Hello, students. It is I, Mr. Shea, in a very interesting place. Look at that. I'm not here today. However, I am in the school. So what we're going to be working on is first figuring out how to get Mr. Shea out of here. But also, we're going to be getting things done with our DBQ. So I'm going to walk you through right now what we're going to be working on, or you're going to be working on today. So that you can survive without me, which I know you can. Alright? So, just follow along. I'm going to upload this video also onto Classroom, so if you have questions, you can watch it again. There's headphones in the front of the room if you need to watch it again. However, it should be pretty straightforward. So, that's our plan. The first screen after your bucketing page, which if you're not done with your bucketing or thesis with your chicken foot, don't worry about it. I'm going to have you finish those first before you get into this page. However, once you finish your buckets, there should be 2 laws under each bucket. And once you finish your chicken foot, you're going to jump on to this page here. So first off, we want to get your title up here, which is essentially restating the question, which is going to be Hammurabi's Code, was it just? So that's part 1, very easy. So once we have that in your box, next what we need to do is write a grabber. And really what the grabber is, what you're going to be writing in this box here, is it's going to be the first sentence or 2 sentences of your whole essay. And for a grabber, what you want to do is catch the reader's attention. So there's a few different types of grabbers we can have. We can have one that is going to be posing a question. So it could be a hypothetical question. Have you ever wanted to punish someone that stole something from you? So have a question that's going to get the reader's attention, but also relates to Hammurabi's Code. So something with one of these laws. It also could be a fact. So something shocking from Hammurabi's Code that you think is going to get someone's attention. Hands were being cut off. Women were being thrown into rivers. Hammurabi's Code was doing all of these things. For the grabber, you don't want to put your opinion in there. It's simply going to be drawing someone's attention in. You're going to get your opinions in there soon enough. So for the grabber, simply pull in their attention. It needs to be interesting, and if it's boring, people are going to fall asleep, and they'll be sad because they won't get to read everything else that you've written. So for the grabber, 1 or 2 sentences, try to hook the attention of the reader with something interesting. Alright, next. Since we've gotten our title, we've gotten our grabber, next we need to inform the reader what the heck they're going to be reading about. And to do that, we need to give them background. So, luckily, all of the background information that you need to write in there, you've already figured out where it is in the background essay. So if you go all the way back to page 1 of the background essay, we've highlighted all of these who, what, when, where, why, and hows. Alright? So all you have to do is go back, and you want to give the reader a couple sentences, maybe 3, 4 sentences, that are going to introduce this idea of Hammurabi's Code, tell them when it's happening, who the heck is Hammurabi in the first place, but you need to give the reader an idea of what's going on, where is this taking place. So with your background, take a bit, read through that background essay, pull out those facts that we already highlighted, so you should have all of this highlighted already, and turn it into a couple sentences that really give the reader a firm understanding of when this takes place and what the heck is going on. Alright, after you've done your background, this part is defining key terms. We've already said who Hammurabi is. So the key terms that we want to define are just, which is fair. I'd also define code, because it's not computer codes or other things. It's talking about laws. So define those 2 terms, and you just want to restate the question to the reader. And it could just be something like, Hammurabi's Code, which was a set of laws, was not just, which means fair. Actually, don't listen to that. That was a bad example. You don't want to get into your opinion in this defining part. You simply want to restate the question. And the question is, Hammurabi's code, was it just? So you could just say, many people wonder if Hammurabi's code was just or not. Just means to be fair, and a code is a set of laws. And that could be it. So that could be your restating. So you would just want to let the reader know that there's some controversy that surrounds this idea of Hammurabi and his code. All right, important part. Next part is this idea of the roadmap and the thesis. Now, you've already written your thesis, it's on your chicken foot, so you're turning it into one sentence. Thesis is only going to be a one-sentence issue, all right? Next is your roadmap. Now, for your roadmap, it should be 3 sentences long. Each sentence should cover each one of the buckets. So on your chicken foot, on your toes, so we got 3 toes. So if your first toe is about family, you want to expand on your roadmap to just explain what you're going to be talking about for family. So we're going to have a thesis statement here. Then 3 sentences are going to follow it up. The first sentence might talk about women, if they were caught cheating, would be thrown into rivers. However, men were not punished for the same crime. That could be your sentence right there for talking about what that paragraph, entire paragraph about family is going to be about. So you want to go into more detail. We're not giving examples. We're not getting into numbers or things. So nothing in the first paragraph should have law number 213. So if you see anything you've written that says a law number, it's too specific. But we want to start out with our thesis, which is very broad. It's 1 sentence. And then you're going to quickly describe 1 sentence each, what each one of those toes mean. So you have 3 toes in your chicken foot. You're going to have 1 sentence about each one. This is probably the most confusing part of the intro. So if you are confused right now and you're sitting there being like, Mr. Shea, video you is really confusing on this whole part, get the thesis written, and then try to just give a broad statement of what you want to write about. When you're done with that, with your paragraph 2, which you see down here, you want to start typing in what is the evidence you're using. So look at those buckets that you've already written, and give yourself some ideas of how, this is the important part, how does that evidence prove that Hammurabi's code was not fair? So how does it show that the set of laws were not helping certain groups of people? Remember, it's supposed to be fair to the victim, to the person that's been accused, as well as to society as a whole. So if you are saying it is fair, touch on those topics. And if you're saying it's not fair, touch on those as well. So yes, I want you to explain what these laws mean, so I know that you understand it. But also you want to bring it back to that question. Was it fair? Was it just? So, for paragraph 2, you're starting out with the first toe of your chicken foot. You can even just turn that toe into a sentence right away. Then you want to write what evidence you're going to use, put in a bunch of quotes, namely quote those laws, and then explain how these quotes prove this main idea that you have, that Hammurabi's code is just or it's not just. So for these 2 boxes, those are the 2 main things. Remember, we're only doing 1 body paragraph, so once you've finished the intro and paragraph number 2, you can skip the next 2 paragraphs. So paragraphs 3 and 4, ignore them, leave them blank, and move down to the last paragraph. However, that means you want to, for paragraph number 2, pick what you think is your best argument. So you have 3 buckets. You're only going to pick your best one. So whichever you're like, those arguments are awesome, pick that one. And while certainly you'll have the other two described in the intro, we're not going to write those paragraphs for this one. All right, our final paragraph, our final part of our outline is going to be this one here, which is our conclusion. So for conclusion, you want to start it out with an although statement. An although statement might be something like, although many people think that Hammurabi's code protected the weak, in fact, it harmed far more people than it was intended, making it not just, period. So you want to present the other argument so that the reader kind of does have an idea that you're acknowledging some people think differently. So you want to kick things off with that argument as the first sentence. Sentence 2 in your conclusion, you want to just restate your thesis. We've already read your thesis once. I don't want you to copy and paste it. So try to change the wording around, change the order of the words, that it's saying the same thing. It still has those 3 toes. But you want for your conclusion to have a different phrasing of your thesis to remind the reader what they just read and what your arguments were. When you're done with that, this is the only part of the entire paper that you could put in a personal opinion. The rest of the paper, I don't care what you think. I'm not trying to be mean. I don't care what you think at all. I just want you to prove a point. It doesn't matter if you agree with that point or not. Never once should you write, I think, ever in a DBQ. Because I don't care. Unless it's this last bit in the conclusion. So with your conclusion, if you want to put down here your opinions of, I feel Hammurabi's code might have caused horrible suffering in Mesopotamia and the ancient civilization of Babylonia. You could add in something about today. Today, it's shown that people respond better to laws that try to help them versus hurting them. A lot of these laws might not take into account why people committed crimes. What if they were poor? What if they needed that food and they're killed for stealing to help their family? So this is where those what ifs that I know all of you like asking, this is where you could bring in a couple of those. So for your conclusion, kick things off with an although statement. Then you want to restate your thesis and then bring some kind of tying in to today. What about this thing that happened 4,000 years ago? How could it teach us something about laws today? And that's all right. If you finish with your outline, your buckets, and your chicken foot, what I want you to do is go into your outline, screenshot it, and then you're going to insert it into this document that I sent to you yesterday in Classroom. And when you screenshot it, it just saves it to your camera roll on your iPad, and then you're going to click on this button right here, which is Add Attachment. When you click on Add Attachment, you then want to click on this. I'm not sure which side it's on. It's probably right here, actually. You want to click on Insert Photo, and you're just going to allow it to access your photos and insert the photo of your outline that you screenshotted so that I know that you did finish this in class. So actually, even if you don't finish, by the end of class, just screenshot this so I know where you are. So when we start on Wednesday, I'll know what we're supposed to be doing, all right? If you do have questions today, let me know. I will be in the school, so just send me an email. Or if you don't have questions, enjoy it. When you're done with this, when you are done, there's another worksheet just on thesis writing. A lot of us, you especially, are going to need to tweak our theses. So there's a worksheet when you're done of just editing and changing up some theses that some are good, some are not good. So when you're done, take that worksheet. When you're done with that, I'll collect it. If you're done with everything, I know all of you have something to read, so read that book. If there's any issues, the sub, whoever they're standing, will let me know, and I hope there aren't. But behave, it'll be nice. I'll see you tomorrow. Also, if you have candy, I'll collect the candy tomorrow, 5 tickets, unless it's big, in which case it could be lots of tickets for like huge king size things, or sharing size, whichever it is now. All right, bye.